The crimson glow of Kepler 442b's twin suns cast long shadows across the newly constructed shipyard, as Commander Liza Chen watched the final hull plates being welded onto humanity's newest dreadnought. The Defiance stretched nearly 2 kilometers, from bow to stern, its angular design a stark departure from the elegant curves favored by the Galactic Council's member species. Where Council ships prioritized aesthetics, human vessels were built for one purpose: war. The Xantharians won't. Know what hit them? Captain James Rodriguez said, joining her on the observation deck. His weathered face bore the scars of humanity's first and last diplomatic encounter with the Council, burns from exotic plasma that had been intended as a warning shot. Liza nodded grimly. Remember when we thought joining their precious council would bring peace? When we believed their propaganda about civilized species and galactic harmony? It had been 12 years since humanity's expulsion from the Galactic Council. The official reason had been aggressive tendencies incompatible with peaceful coexistence. The real reason was simpler: fear. Humanity had achieved in 50 years what most species took millennia to accomplish. They had gone from splitting the atom to faster-than-light travel in a single human lifetime. The Council's older races, comfortable in their stagnation, couldn't tolerate such rapid advancement. The vote was unanimous, James recalled bitterly. Every single species agreed we were too dangerous to remain. The Altarians, who we'd saved from the Hive incursion. The Vegan Confederacy, who we'd shared our medical technology with freely. Even the Centauri, who'd been our first alien contact. The banishment had been brutal. All human colonies beyond the Sol system had been forcibly evacuated. Trade agreements were terminated overnight. Humanity had been given a single star system and told to stay there, or face corrective action. The Council had expected humanity to wither in isolation. Instead, they had built something unprecedented. Liza gestured toward the tactical display, showing the current state of human space. What had once been just the Sol system now encompassed 47 star systems, each one claimed not through Council-approved colonization rights, but through humanity's oldest tradition: conquest. The hegemony of man, she said with pride. Sounds better than Earth and her measly 8 planets, doesn't it? The transformation had begun with the Proxima incident. A Council peacekeeping fleet had arrived to investigate unauthorized human activity in the Alpha Centauri system. They had found not a small research outpost, but a fully militarized world defended by ships that outgunned anything in the Council's arsenal. The peacekeepers had been sent home with a message: humanity would expand where it chose. After Proxima came the Tau Ceti campaign, where human forces had systematically dismantled a Xantharian forward base. Then the siege of Wolf 359, where Admiral Sarah Park's fleet had held off a coalition armada 10 times their size for 3 months before, devastating them in a single, decisive battle. Each victory had brought new technology, new resources, and new allies. Species that had been oppressed by the Council's rigid hierarchy found themselves drawn to humanity's meritocratic ideals. The reptilian Drakmori had joined after humans helped them overthrow their Council-appointed governor. The insectoid Clixie had allied with Earth after human xenobiologists cured a plague that had been decimating their hive worlds. Status report on the fleet? Liza asked. James consulted his neural interface. 2,437 active vessels across all classes. The Retribution-class dreadnoughts are performing beyond specifications. Our carrier groups have achieved a 97% mission success rate. And the new stealth frigates? He smiled. Let's just say the Altarians still can't figure out how their mining station in the Vega system disappeared. But it wasn't just the military might that made the human hegemony formidable. While the Council species had grown complacent over millennia of peace, humans had done what they did best: innovate. Quantum tunneling drives allowed human ships to cross vast distances in hours rather than weeks. Adaptive AI systems gave human commanders tactical flexibility that rigid Council protocols couldn't match. And most importantly, humanity had learned to think like predators while their enemies remained prey animals at heart. The Council's messenger arrived this morning, James continued. They're requesting No, demanding a meeting. Liza laughed. After 12 years of treating us like pariahs, now they want to talk? What changed their minds? The fall of Arcturus Prime. The significance wasn't lost on either of them. Arcturus Prime had been the Council's most heavily fortified world, protected by a defense grid that had supposedly been impregnable. Yet 3 days ago, human hegemony forces had breached it in under 6 hours. The fortress world that had stood unconquered for 8,000 years had surrendered without humanity losing a single ship. They're scared, James observed. They should be. Liza turned from the window as klaxons announced the Defiance's completion. Around them, the massive ship's running lights came online, bathing the shipyard in blue-white radiance. Schedule. The meeting for tomorrow. Standard diplomatic protocol. Which means, Liza's smile was predatory. We don't go to them. They come to us. On our terms. In our space. Surrounded by our guns. She paused, watching as the Dreadnought's engines began their startup sequence. And James? Make sure they get a good look at the fleet on their way in. I want them to understand exactly who they're dealing with now. The age of humanity's exile was ending. The age of the human hegemony was just beginning, and the galaxy would never be the same. As the Defiant slowly maneuvered away from its berth, Liza couldn't help but feel a certain satisfaction. The Council had sought to contain humanity's potential by banishing them from civilized space. Instead, they had given them room to grow into something far more dangerous than they had ever imagined.